What's up, everyone? In today's episode, I'm going to break down all of my trades from the morning. Today, right now, we've got a stock up over 300%, and it is the stock that I made the most money on. Now, as I broke down my watch list for you over the weekend, I gave you my game plan for Monday morning. And I said that Monday morning, although I had a couple stocks that I knew I would be watching, what I would primarily be looking at are the stocks were already the leading gainers in the morning. Now, I've been in Europe for the last several weeks, and so I got back last night, and this morning I was up at 3:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time because that's what I've been used to. So I pulled up my scans bright and early, and at about 6 a.m., I refreshed my scan, and I saw our leading gainer at that time was a stock, SONN. That's the ticker. It's a stock I've traded before. I pulled it up. It was at $12 a share. I opened up my laptop, even before coming over into this little office space. I just opened up my laptop, and by the time I loaded my laptop, the price was already at $30 and coming back down. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's an incredible move. And I completely missed it. Now, that stock is our second leading gainer in the market right now. It's currently up 118%, as you can see right here. SQFT is the stock that we're really going to talk about because it's the one that I made the most on. But SONN is the first stock that I was looking at. So, over the last several weeks, trading and traveling in France and Spain and in Italy, I was used to being on my traveling trading station. I'd kind of adjusted to it. And getting back this morning, I found myself fumbling a little bit. This keyboard that I use here at home is just a little different than my laptop. The trackpad's a little different. I mean, it's all very similar. It's still a Windows machine, but just sort of subtle differences. Even the alignment of my monitors, I sort of got back and I was like, is that how I've always had that monitor? I sort of adjusted it a little bit. So when I first sat down here this morning, I felt a little like I needed to kind of reorient to this being where I'm going to be working for a while. Now, I love traveling and trading. It's fantastic that we can do this from pretty much anywhere in the world. But at the same time, it is nice to have a little bit bigger monitor space just to be able to see these charts a little bit more clearly, to zoom in a little bit better. And it's nice to be able to kind of spread out over, in this case, 5 monitors, whereas on my traveling trading station, I had only 3. So this morning, 6 a.m., SONN pops up, and basically in one candle goes from $6 to $30 a share. So they had news. This was tied in with cryptocurrency, so this kind of typical headline. So they had this headline here, announces $888 million business combination to launch hype cryptocurrency treasury reserve strategy. All right, so that's the news, and the stock squeezes up big time. But, it drops right back down, bounces back up, and by 7 a.m., I was looking at it and I was asking myself, is this going to work for us? And on the one hand, I thought it's such a big percentage gainer, but this big topping tail candle. So what do those topping tails tell us? The stock squeezed up, but sellers pulled it back down even before this candle closed. So that topping tail is a bearish formation. At the end of this episode, I can put a link to my full trainings on how to read candlestick charts in more detail for those of you guys that aren't familiar. But that to me sent a very clear warning sign. So it kind of rallied back up, but it wasn't able to reclaim those highs, sold off again. And you had a couple higher volume rejections here. So it ends up coming back down to the volume weighted average price, coming back up. And coming into about 7 a.m., I said, all right, this is a level that's in play, this 2357. And so when it came up to that right here, I was watching for a possible break, but I didn't want to buy it right there because the spreads were bigger. It's a higher price stock, and I felt like I would be taking too much risk. So no trades. It pulls back. It's going sideways. I'm like, okay, we're going to squeeze through. And it just never happened. But interestingly, we ended up having some other stocks that hit the scans, and one of them really took the top spot there, which was SQFT. So SQFT also popped up at about 4 in the morning from $6 to $18, big topping tail, and it's red, and it sells off all the way back down to 6. So at this point, I kind of thought there's nothing to trade here. Then, surprisingly, it rallies from 6 all the way back up to 14 right here on these couple of candles on the 5-minute chart. And that surprised me. but I just felt like, I don't really know. I mean, it's kind of like, it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So popped up, sold off, then pops up, then sells off. So I was like, I don't know. I'm not really sure if this is going to work. And then we have YHC. YHC pops up, and this one had also made a move at 4 a.m. It drops down, and then it curls right here at 7 a.m. At 7 a.m., I was watching it, and I felt like I couldn't get an entry because I didn't really want to chase it. I was waiting for a pullback, and what you can see is that pretty much it went from 380 to 520 and back to 380. There was not really a clean pullback. There was a micro pullback right here, but I was sort of fumbling at that moment, and I didn't get in, and it kind of went without me. So I didn't get a trade on that, and it ended up double topping more or less against that previous high. But that was at about 7 a.m., and I think that 650, and I think that gave a little bit of momentum to SQFT, or people giving it more consideration, because similarly it had popped up, sold off, and then rallying up again. So it comes up here to 13, no trades on it. It pulls back, it comes back up again here, dips down, pops back up here, dips down, and then this is where we're starting to kind of get interesting. So my first trade on it was just after 7 a.m., and I took this dip right down in here. So right down here, I bought this dip for the first 1 minute candle to make a new high. So that was my entry, this was my stop. My target was that we were going to break through this high, and I hoped we were going to go through this high here. And I thought if we broke through that high, we had kind of no resistance until high of day. So that's what I was kind of looking at. And I marked out the high of day right up here. Oops, let me just draw this out. Okay, so I had the high of day marked out as well, 1756. So although this popped up, it didn't work as well as I wanted it to. I made $4,000. So $4,000, that's not, I mean, look, that's a cushion. That's my first trade of the day, getting myself in the green, and now it's time to look for the next setup. So, that was basically how I started my day. Then it dips down here again, and it comes back up, and I got back in. I got back in here because I thought if it broke over this high here, we would almost certainly break this level, and then we're back to this blue line, and holy smokes, this thing broke 12.50 here. It breaks 13, and it went straight to $19 a share. And on these 3 candles here, I made $54,000. So here's my P&L for the day. I'm up $29,669.61, 58,000 of it, about half of it, coming from SQFT, and the majority of that profit coming from this move right here. Now, it ended up pulling back again. And at the open, it curled back up, dipped down, and then look at this. It's actually now all the way up to even a new high of day, which it just peaked at just a moment ago at about 23.50. So this is showing some really nice strength, which is fantastic. Okay, so first trade of the day, SQFT, and it broke the ice, and then, next thing you know, by 7:30, 7:35, whatever it was, I'm up over $58,000 on the day. Hello, Monday morning. This is fantastic. Okay, so after that, I'm more or less looking for the next stock to trade. I'm happy to trade anything that's moving, and I'm just being patient, and ALBT ends up hitting the scans. So ALBT hits my scanners, and when it first hits my scan, I remembered it. Excuse me. I was just like, for me right now, it's about almost 5:30 in the afternoon. Kind of starting to get a little tired. So ready for dinner. So anyways, so ALBT hits the scanner, and I'm like, okay, familiar with it. We've looked at it before. It's popped up a few times. It's, given us some moves, but doesn't always hold. So we'll see what it can do. But I knew the float was pretty low, and it's 782,000 shares. So right here, it starts to pop up, and I basically watched this thing squeeze from 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. Micro pullback, wanted to get in right there, and I didn't get filled. Goes up to 6, up to 650, and I ended up pulling the trigger at 650. So got in, chased it a little bit in at 650. It dips down and squeezes up to 8, pulls back, and I did a couple of dip trades, buying dips as it popped back up. Ends up retracing to a double top at about 8, and then rolling over a little bit harder, and ultimately giving back pretty much the whole move. Nonetheless, I was able to lock up $15,000 on it, which is pretty good. So now from 58 plus 15,000, so 68, 73,000 on the day. Solid. Okay. So after the trades on ALBT, now I'm looking for the next stock. And at that moment, this is interesting. ALBT had news at 8 a.m., but so did DARE, D-A-R-E. So dare to say no. So DARE pops up here, right here, dips down and squeezes up, and it starts squeezing right here. I jumped on the momentum in at $7 a share. So I bought at 7. It goes to 8, it goes to 9, hits a high of just under 10, it pulls back. Now on that first move, I made about maybe it was $15,000. And then I gave back what I had made. I added a little too high here, and I gave back all except for 3,000. It rallies back up, it pulls back. I get back in right here for the break of the ABCD pattern and a retest to 10. I take profit. I made about 16,000 on that trade, and that put me up 19,000 on the stock. Then it dips down, and I got back in for that cup and handle formation right there and made 20,000, which put me up $43,000 on DARE. But unfortunately, topping tail, wasn't able to hold these levels, and it kind of starts to unwind. So this is now sold off as the day has gone on, which is a little disappointing. All right, so we had flurries of momentum today on a number of different stocks, and the question is, which of these, if any, are going to hold? So after DARE, I had a trade on SLE. SLE also hit the scanner, jumped in it quickly, jumped back out. This was a smaller winner, but a green trade nonetheless. This one popped up very quickly, had news that came out right at 9:15. So it pops up here 6:50 to 7. Let's see. And then all of a sudden it goes from 7, 7:58, 8:59, 9:50, 10, 10:50, 11, peaks at 11:50. We got a dip, a bounce back up. This was a fantastic dip from 9:50 back up to 11, and then it drops hard. And although I did a dip off the low and then a double bottom, I was like, this is not great. It's reversing too hard. And we had a couple others that reversed as well that I didn't end up trading. And so at that point, I was like, all right, we're kind of coming into the sort of final, maybe final trades of the day. And my last trade was on LGHL, and it was a loser. I got in this here, it pops up, reversed immediately, and I lost $600. And with that, I said, all right, that's good enough for me. I'm going to take the $129,000 off the table. Now, as it turned out, I left some money on the table not trading SQFT at the open, but at the same time, I feel grateful for what I did. And what I know coming into the open is that because of the combination of market orders and stop orders, we're often finding that the price action gets even choppier than pre-market. So I am grateful for this fantastic start to the week. As I sit here right now, let's see. So today is, the 14th. I am now crossing over $4.4 million on the year. But much of that is thanks to June and July. June was 1.3 million. So fantastic month of June. And now here in July, we'll just do this month. I was at, $624,000 on the month before today. So now I'm at 750, which puts me 75% of the way towards my $1 million goal for the month of July. Now, I had a goal of $1 million for the month of June, and I finished at 1.3. So sitting right now at $750,000 on the month, and it's only June 14th. We still have half the month left. I don't know. I mean, this could end up being an even bigger month than June. It's to be determined, but we're continuing to see a lot of momentum. Speculative names are doing well. Cryptocurrency is continuing to be strong. So, this right now is the summer that I wasn't expecting, but I'm really grateful for. So I'm going to continue to be aggressive when I see good opportunities, but just as quickly, I'll take my foot off the gas if I'm not seeing anything that looks good. And so even today, I had moments where I was sitting and waiting and being patient, and I thought, well, maybe that's it. I might not get any more trades. And then boom, all of a sudden, something else popped up and I was kind of back at it. So, that's kind of, that's going to be my approach each day. So tomorrow morning, I'll be sitting down 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for members at Warrior Trading. And for those of you guys who haven't already checked out doing a 2-week trial, I would love for you guys to check it out. We've got 2-week trials that are going on. It's 2 weeks for $20. I think you guys will really enjoy it. So make sure you check out that 2-week trial, and I'll see you guys back at it first thing tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. And a reminder, as always, trading is risky. My results aren't typical, so please manage your risk, take it slow, and practice as simulator before putting real money on the line.